talking about the benefits of exercise and the power of movement. And what I want you to do, and hopefully I'll convince you of this by the time that we're done, that exercise is like a medicine. So I'm going to provide some tangible examples, one of which you're seeing right here. We're going to have a person end up riding the bike. You can rest for a moment. Don't start yet, okay? So to follow along with the theme of action steps, I have 4 really specific action steps that I want to go through over the course of the presentation today. That physical activity is your friend and inactivity is the enemy. And I'm using the term physical activity because some people are afraid of the E word. That exercise word kind of scares them. But I think of exercise as the trade name, and physical activity is the generic name for what we need to be doing. And the key thing is to be physically active. So if inactivity is the enemy, isn't it kind of ironic that when you go to your physician or many places that you see that you need to get the approval of the medical provider to be physically active rather than getting their approval to be sedentary? Shouldn't it be that they should be telling you, you have my approval to be sedentary? Because that's more harmful than being physically active. So I'd like to change kind of your mindset about that. And one of the other things that we're beginning to realize is that there's a lot of harm in sitting disease. Okay? So they're actually using this term now. And if you look at this image, it's kind of like this doesn't really qualify as evolution. This is de-evolution. The person that ends up sitting there at the chair, they're cutting off blood flow to their lower extremities. Their lungs are being constricted, so they're not breathing as well. It is definitely not a healthy position to be in. So we need to encourage people to be physically active and moving around and getting out of that sitting disease position. Okay? So many of you probably have seen taking your pulse, either at your wrist or at your carotid pulse here. But I'd like to actually encourage you to think about rating your exertion on that scale that's on the right side of the slide there. And we're trying to avoid the bottom, number 1, the no activity that Steve's sitting in right now. Okay? So Steve, how would you rate your effort right now? 0. Okay, so he's below that. So I want you to go ahead and start pedaling. And I'm going to keep you pedaling here for a little while. Can you guys help me thank Steve for being up here and riding on the stage? So, okay. So you don't have to pedal hard because I'm going to keep you going for a little while, all right? Okay. So, and I want you to keep going, and then I'm going to ask you in a little bit what your level of exertion is, okay? Okay, so I'm going to want you to get a new prescription from your provider, okay? Your new prescription is exercise, and the best thing about that new prescription is, look, it is the only prescription you can get that has unlimited refills, okay? You don't have to go back. But this physical activity can have a variety of flavors. I've got an example here of somebody stationary biking, but I'd be kind of hypocritical if I just told you that there's a problem with sitting, and then I said, okay, I'm going to talk to you for the next 30 minutes about the hazards of sitting, and then let you sit the whole time. Okay? So I'd say all of your effort is probably at that 1 level right now. So those of you that feel like you could, I'd like you to stand up. And you can watch this and listen while you're standing. And then these pictures up on the slide, provide examples of a variety of different kind of exercises that you could do. What I'm going to show you, and the reason I brought the boxing gloves up, was to have you show one idea of exercise that might be fun. So if you guys can come on up. We're going to talk about this idea of using boxing training. And I want to be clear when I say boxing training. Some people say, my God, what are you thinking? You're going to have people hit each other in the head? No. Think about some of the best conditioned athletes that you can think of. Somebody with that's a boxer. So I got some gloves for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready? Okay, I think, let's see, is that the right side?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Go that way. Okay, I expect you to knock him out.
Okay.
Okay.
No more. He trained me. So
Okay.
I can hit him anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have a little bit of music. Can we cue that music? Did you get your heart rate up?
I'm sure.
Okay. And did you guys see that that was balance training? That was, she was upright, she was moving around. Hopefully she got a little bit of aggression out. Did you see anybody's face on those hands when you were hitting? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're getting some aggression out, you get to release some tension. So if you had the opportunity to go to a gym, there somebody was supportive of doing this. Travis was talking about some local gyms that may have the opportunity. 9 rounds, is that right? Okay. So on that scale of effort, would you rate your level of effort at a 1?
Maybe a 3.
Okay. Steve, how are you doing?
At 4.
Okay. So stay at that 4, no higher, okay? Are you making me tired just watching you? Okay. Okay. So, Lana, that's great. If you'd like to stay up here and hit Travis some more, that'd be fine, but I was going to keep moving on.
You keep moving.
Okay, okay. You can take the gloves with you for now. I'll get them back. Okay, so what I want you to do is think about treating physical activity and exercise as a medicine, and take some form of it daily. It doesn't have to be breaking a sweat riding a stationary bike. It could be a variety of things. But what I want you to do is think about exercise as a drug. And you notice when you get the new prescriptions, you have a package insert. The package insert says, gives you all the potential bad things that might happen if you take that medication. So I want you to think about what the package insert for exercise might look like. So here's the package insert for exercise. There's a warning: exercise or physical activity. It may result in transient sweating, feelings of being out of breath, muscle soreness, and feelings of stretching. Ooh, you don't want any of those, do you? Those sound really bad. But here's the list of benefits. And I'm leaving out the brain benefits for a moment. We'll talk about those in a second. But decreased heart disease, decreased high blood pressure, decreased risk of stroke, decreased problems with diabetes or cancer. Okay? You increase blood flow to the muscles. You increase muscle cell size. You increase the usage of the sugar in your blood, so you're farther away from diabetes. Your bones get stronger. Inflammation over your entire body decreases. And that translates to reductions in all causes of illness and death. So oftentimes we consider medications kind of this benefit to side effect profile. So I just showed you all these benefits for the body, and that side effect profile was sweating, stretching, some muscle soreness. To me, that's a fairly good ratio. You won't find a medication on the market that has as good of a ratio of benefits to side effects. And we have some proof, or I'm going to take it as proof, and I would admit my bias as a physical therapist, that physical activity benefits individuals with Parkinson's disease. There have been a number of studies that have compared longevity of individuals with Parkinson's disease before the onset of Sinemet, of the dopamine replacement medication, to after when that came on the market. And some of the neurology community has been quick to jump on the fact that that's evidence that the medication actually helped to make these people live longer. But Dr. Ashclog at the Mayo Clinic pointed this out in an editorial in Neurology a few years ago, that this actually may be the direct benefits of mobilizing a generation of individuals with Parkinson's disease. Sinemet helped them move, but the critical factor was the fact that they were moving. So the power of movement was the critical element to increasing the longevity for those individuals. So what about the benefits for the brain? I said decreased stroke risk already, decreased metabolic syndrome and diabetes, but there are increased blood flow, increased vessel formation, increased activation of brain centers. And as was mentioned earlier, there are secretion of brain protective factors. So there does appear to be some benefit and protection of the brain and its function by being physically active. You're delivering more fuel, you're delivering more oxygen to the brain. So I'm going to check in. We talked about the boxing already. Steve, how you doing?
Yeah, about 5.
Okay, you're about 5. Remember I said to stay at 4. Okay. Okay, so he's keeping that sustained level of 4. He can still talk. That's one of the items on that slide, that you can still have a conversation. You can still talk.
No problem.
Okay, good, good. You guys are still doing okay standing? Good, good. I'm sorry I don't have good dance music for you, or to Otis Day in the Nights. But one of the critical factors and one of the failings of a lot of the research that we've done is that we've done really controlled exercise studies that have looked at resistance training or dance or stationary biking. Many of those individuals that were involved in the studies ended up stopping those activities after the study was done because they volunteered for it, but it was a forced situation. It wasn't their personal choice of the activity that they wanted to do. I would love to stand up here and tell you that I know the exact exercise that's the most beneficial for you, but that would be dishonest. I don't know the exercise that's the best for you. I have a list up here of a variety of exercises, all of which have research evidence to show their benefit. Yoga, Tai Chi, resistance training, so strength training, dance. There's been individuals that have studied tango or Irish dance or modern dance. Some people enjoy walking on a treadmill. Some people enjoy aerobic training, so riding a stationary bike and getting a heart rate, or doing cross-country skiing, boxing. I have a colleague at the Cleveland Clinic that studied individuals riding on a tandem bicycle. So they derive benefit from riding the tandem bike. Okay? The best exercise is the one that you enjoy and the one that you can sustain. One that brings you joy and happiness, not that you feel like is torture. I have a stationary bike downstairs in my house. It's kind of like a torture machine. It does a very good job of hanging clothes on it right now. You guys have one of those? It gets dusty and I hang the clothes on it because it's like torture. I would choose to do anything else but ride that stationary bike. But there are a variety of other activities that I derive joy from. Those are the things that you need to find. And it doesn't have to be that you have to go to the gym. You have to find something, whether it's gardening or walking with friends, something that provides more than sitting, but brings you happiness and contributes to your peace of mind as well as benefiting your body and your brain. Okay, so moving on to additional the last point on my action steps is kind of pulling together your team to remove barriers to physical activity. And again, this is a common message that you're hearing today, that we all have barriers: time, motivation, some things that may be more specific to the persons with Parkinson's disease may be their balance. So who's on your team? I'd like you to take a moment to kind of think about that. Who are the people that you have on your team? It could be your spouse, it could be your significant other, it could be your friends. But moving down the list there, the support group that you have. If you're not involved in a Parkinson's support group, you should look for one, because it's a wonderful place to have not only kind of community support, but I think I've heard the term used, social capital, the benefits of having individuals that really want to help you and are on your side. My belief is that the Parkinson's associations that might be in your area, in our area it's the American Parkinson's Disease Association, there are state organizations, that it is part of their job to also help provide those kind of resources and be there for you. And then there are also many community resources that are available. The Salt Lake, like the Salt Lake County Aging Services or aging services within a particular city or county, they are, many places have what they call silver sneaker programs that's funded by the Centers for Disease Control that allow you to provide some camaraderie and education. So all of those individuals should be on your team, and you need to find out, making up your kind of list of all-stars and the people that are on your team. And you can add years to your life one step at a time there. So what I'm advocating for you is a kind of a team effort that couples what we've talked about in terms of physical activity and exercise, along with the medical management, so the diagnosis and the management from your physician, maybe the speech therapist, the occupational therapist, a complementary medical provider, a massage therapist or something like that. And those merge together to create long-term health. I think too often we think about a diagnosis like Parkinson's disease as that is kind of counter to health. That is not the case. Health is a much more holistic term. You define your health not by the presence of disease, but by how you're feeling about your life at any given time. So you should be participating in activities that make you happy. That defines your health. You should not let the Parkinson's disease define your health. Okay? So again, you've been standing. Has your level of effort gone up from that no activity? So you just achieved benefit from coming here today. Before I came up on the stage, you had your arms up, you were yelling, you had physical activity and exercise benefit. You've gotten benefit from standing here. We'll leave the bike over here, so if Steve's willing to give it up, somebody else could step on. I'm joking. He's not giving up. He's riding here for the rest of the day. And there's boxing gloves over there if you wanted to try the boxing gloves. But again, those were just examples of activities that you could do. There are plenty of others, and you should work with your team to find those activities that are most meaningful to you. So to go back and kind of summarize and end with the 4 action steps that I'd like you to take home from today. Physical activity is your friend. It is something that will benefit you. Inactivity, sitting in that hunched position with the blood flow reduced to your legs, with your lungs kind of constricted, that is your enemy. Okay? There's some studies that talk about the sitting disease being worse than cigarette smoking. So we want you to be doing something, okay? Treat physical activity and exercise as a medicine. Take some form of it every day. It doesn't have to be this huge workout, but some form of physical activity every day. The best activity that you can do is something that you enjoy and that you can sustain. So don't let anybody tell you have to ride a stationary bike, or you have to cross-country ski, or you have to walk. Find an activity that's meaningful for you And those are the things, that's the best exercise for you, okay? And then lastly, it is all about pulling together your team. Part of the benefit of exercise is not only the physical benefits that I talked about, the physiologic benefits, but it's the psychologic benefit of interacting with other people, the camaraderie of being able to spend time with other people. And I would say that your team is going to help you sustain those activities.